Hey guys, welcome back to another sports stuff video. Today we'll be talking about the Miami Dolphins and their offseason plan of how we're going to fix this team and return to the playoffs. So if you guys do enjoy, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell to be notified when I post next. Let's get into this video. So the Dolphins, last year missed the playoffs. I believe they won 7 or 8 games, maybe 6 games, but definitely disappointing season. Tua missed a lot of the season again. So as a Miami Dolphins offseason plan, what we need to do is reinvigorate this offense, get our team bought back into our team, get our guys bought back in, and try and make a playoffs and actually deep playoff run. The AFC's tough, but I do see a chance for the Dolphins to win and make a playoffs again. So let's do it. Miami Dolphins offseason plan. So starting off, cuts and or trades, we're at negative $11 million. But with the first move, we're going to get back to being positive. We'll be trading Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill had 81 receptions, 959 yards, and 6 touchdowns. I don't see him actually being moved. Obviously, he came out as soon as the last game of the season ended where he's like, I'm done. Goodbye, Miami. Thank you for all the help. Thank you for all the work you've done for me, but I'm out of here. And then the next day, he recanted those after talking to the management. So I don't think he's going to see him actually getting moved. This team needs Tyreek Hill. But at the same time, I think Tyreek Hill's gonna do what's best with Tyreek Hill, as every player does. He's still the best pure deep threat wide receiver in the NFL. I think this dude on any team could still get 1,000 yards and off like 50 catches. Like, this dude is still really good. I believe last season he was top 4 in deep catches and deep yards. Still, like this dude, he's in his early 30s and he's still really good. Lots of Super Bowl contending teams are gonna want him. As you can see, one team does trade for him. I think multiple teams. I think teams like the Lions. I think the Commanders. And the AFC side, I can see teams like the Ravens try and trading for him. I think there's a lot of teams, maybe even the Patriots can want him for, a true outside threat for Drake May. But I would think Tyreek Hill would want to go to a Super Bowl contender who could take on his salary. So came out after comments to clarify he is staying. Sure, I don't believe it. I think that's after the meeting with the ownership and with the management and the head coach. He's like, you know what? I'll recant those statements so you guys have a little bit of leverage in the trade talks this offseason. But Washington, I may be trading for Tyreek Hill. The Commanders getting another wide receiver next to Terry McLaurin. Grab Tyreek Hill, Terry McLaurin. That's a really good 1-2 punch. Washington gets Tyreek Hill and a 2025 fifth, number 151. And Miami gets a second round pick, number 61 overall. So you get a top 60 pick for Tyreek Hill. And you get off his money and you start moving towards, a younger group of wide receivers. Maybe Jalen Waddle gets featured more in the offense again, but you save $15 million against the cap. So you're already positive without doing any other moves, and you get a top 60 pick. That's really good in my opinion. Obviously, Tyreek Hill, it hasn't really worked out in Miami. Having him on your team has not made you a championship contender. So he's made his money. He's got a massive contract. Trade him to Washington, who has the money to take him on, and are championship contenders right now. With Jaden Daniels on his rookie contract, go out, try and win a Super Bowl. And I think Tyreek Hill, Terry McLaurin, they do two very different things, but I think they would complement each other really, really well. Next, we're going to be getting rid of Austin Jackson as well. We're going to be cutting Austin Jackson. He had a 60 PFF grade, 60 pass blocking, 64 run blocking. I don't know how he got a contract back in 2023 to begin with, but he did. He only had one positive season as a starter. That was his contract season. And that's, when I say positive, I mean a PFF grade over 64, 65. Only had it once in his career. 2 of the last 3 seasons, he has had a season-ending injury. He's very injury-prone. He can't stay healthy. His $36 million contract ends after next year. So I cut the deal a year early and move on to Patrick Paul and a rookie. So honestly, he drafted Patrick Paul in the second round last year to be a left tackle of the future. You still have Teron Armstead left tackle, but you cut Austin Jackson and you just get out of that really bad contract. Again, $12 million a year for a dude who plays 4 games a year, and then is injured for the rest of the season. So I'm done. I'm moving on from him. Let him go somewhere else. Maybe he can get healthy somewhere else. If that is what happens, whatever. Restructures. I'm gonna be restructuring a couple of guys. Tua Tagovailoa, restructuring for $19 million. We know Tua's gonna be on this team for the next few years, so having that money pushed back is not a big deal. Bradley Chubb, $13.7 million. You trade a first-round pick for him. You're keeping Bradley Chubb for a few more years. And then Teron Armstead, he's a retired Dolphin, so $9.5 million to restructure. You open up $42 million in cap space, meaning that you're at $56.9 million for re-signings. Then the first re-signing we're doing is Carter Kahu, 40 tackles, 2 interceptions, 11 run stops, and 3 pass breakups. He's a solid starter since being a UDFA. Um, One of the couple of guys in the NFL that I knew was a UDFA, and I'm very surprised he was undrafted. He started all 3 years of his career. He came into training camp his rookie season, earned a starting job, has not let it go. You can't original round tender due to him being a UDFA, so I had to decide to do a second round tender to retain the value. For me, I would have paid Kader Kahu probably about $5 to $8 million a year. So the fact you get him on a 1 year, $5 million second round tender, so you're happy to have him another year for $5 million. But if another team wants him, just trade a second round pick. You take on the contract. I would look to extend him long term, but I'm going to use every leverage advantage that I have. I'm going to give him a $5 million fully guaranteed 1 year deal. And again, if a team wants him, you trade a second round pick, you have him, and you tell Cotter like, hey, we want to extend you long term. Let's use the leverage we have with the CBA though to get you on this tender, and next year we'll get you an extension. Then Terrell Dotson, the linebacker, he had 80 tackles, 2 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 39 run stops. He turned out to be a great 1 year flyer investment for you, so I don't see them letting him go. He solidifies your inside linebacker core for a few seasons. You have your 4-3 outside, your 3-4 scheme. So you have your 3 defensive linemen, 2 outside linebackers. Terrell Dotson is integral to that inside linebacker room to keep that second level protected. He fits the system like a glove. Was a dominant run stopper. I don't see them letting him go. He has a 2-year, $15 million deal, $9.5 million guaranteed, a 64% guaranteed contract. Really good value for Terrell Dotson, who again, a 1 year, like $2 million deal now turns into a 2 year for 15, and a good starter for you. Going into free agency, you have $44 million in free agency, so it's not as much as we've seen from other guys in the past, but I think it's enough to get this team back in contention. So first off, we'll be signing Will Fries, I believe is actually pronounce it. I was trying to be nice, but I think it is Will Fries. He had an 87 PFF grade, 75 pass blocking, 85 run blocking. He has turned into a great all-around guard. I do think his PFF grades are a little inflated, but I think he's still a really good starting guard. I still remember the French fries lineup of the, I think it was Wesley French and Will Fries. I still remember that lineup, that picture. Former 7th round pick who's turned into a really good starter. He can shore up this interior offensive line at both Liam Eichenberg and Robert Hunt are just let go and they can sign elsewhere. He's used to signing. He's used to playing with a quarterback like Tua. Obviously, Anthony Richardson is more of a runner, but when he is passing, him and Tua play very similarly. But yeah, 3-year, $37 million deal, $29 million guaranteed. That's 78% guaranteed. It never goes over $13 million a year average, so not awful for Will Fries. But I think, again, for a guy who is a 7th round pick, has developed into a good NFL starter, not a horrible contract for him. Next, we need Tane Moody. No snaps taken last year, but I do still believe in Tane Moody as an offensive player. Former 6th round pick that I was a big fan of going out of his draft class. I was shocked he slipped to the 6th. You can come in and compete for a starting job. You're tight on all offensive lineman cap, so you need to find value. You have both Teron Armstead and big money. You have Will Fries and big money. You cut Austin Jackson, took $7 million of a cap hit. So there are things kind of hindering you. Having also Aaron Brewer at center. So you have guys already on bigger deals that you got to get value on guys that aren't really getting played elsewhere that you were high on when they were coming out of the draft. I think Tane Moody fits that for this scheme. He has a wide frame, was a solid run blocker going out. So I do think Tane Moody is a good fit for when you have Devon Achane behind you. 1 year, $2 million. Next, we have Roy Lopez, a nose tackle from Arizona. He had 18 tackles, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, 14 run stops, and 3 batted passes. He was a solid nose tackle, and he showed flashes in Arizona, but I just don't think he's good enough for you to retain for long term. But there's teams that don't have a good nose tackle that would go for Roy Lopez. He comes into a defense under Anthony Weaver. He's a run defender at nose tackle with good veteran pass rushers. That is exactly what you want in this defensive line. It's just a good run defender at D tackle, nose tackle, and the 3 DNs, and your outside pass rushers are going to thrive off that. So 2 year, $8 million, $5.5 million guaranteed at 68% for Roy Lopez, a starting nose tackle in this league. Not bad at all. Next, we have Nick Scott at safety. He had 17 tackles, 0 interceptions, and 3 run stops. He's a veteran safety who's good in coverage. That's exactly what you want. He's definitely more, I think he's more of a free safety than strong safety, but I do see them going a rookie route for a starter at safety. I think Nick Scott can be a good backup veteran, though, kind of help that rookie get his legs in and can come in and play a role. Even if the rookie's not ready to play, Nick Scott can play free safety and play it pretty well. But at worst, he's a backup to a rookie. 1 year, $2 million, not bad. Then we have Jalen Hawkins, a young guy I'm taking a shot on. He had 31 tackles, 0 interceptions, 4 run stops, and 1 pass breakup in New England. Young option at free safety. Again, I have Nick Scott, who I know can play, and Jalen Hawkins could be that flyer. Instead of drafting a rookie, maybe just have Jalen Hawkins. He showed at times he can start. It's another guy to come in and compete at the free safety role. It's a 1-year flyer, $2.5 million. So even if he just sits on your bench, it's only $2.5 million, or he can come in and play valuable minutes for you for $2.5 million. That's value. Finally, I'm going to be signing Tyler Boyd. He had 39 receptions, 390 yards, and 0 touchdowns last year. I don't know why it says interceptions. He's still a good starting receiver. I think his issue last year in Tennessee is that the quarterback play was so bad that he wasn't getting targeted. He has good hands, really good route runner, and I think Jalen Waddle and Tyler Boyd would be a fun duo. Will allow Waddle to be the true number 1 target, with Tyler Boyd being that number 2 option for Tua Tagovailoa. 2-year, $11.5 million deal, $7.5 million guaranteed at 68% guaranteed. He's not going to exactly replace Tyreek Hill, but again, another good guy with good hands and good route runner for Tua. Going to the draft, give $22 million. I will say there's a lot of draft picks, so maybe you want to save more, 10 to 12 million. So you have about $10 million in cap space to work with. If you want to go and sign a couple more fringe roster guys to help you in certain rotations, wouldn't be a worse idea in the world. But $22 million going into the draft. And here's what I do in the draft. At number 13, I do grab Kelvin Banks Jr. from Texas. Banks, I don't think he plays tackle in the NFL. I think he's going to be more of a guard. So he comes in, he starts at guard day 1 for you at left guard. He looks really good in run blocking. I think he'd be a great addition to this offensive line. And if Teron Armstead does retire this offseason, which there are rumors he is, but even if he doesn't, I think him and Teron Armstead would secure the left side of that offensive line. And if it is Patrick Paul who does start next year, Patrick Paul and Kelvin Banks, a young duo at the left side of the offensive line, I think that'd be really good. Then at number 48, double dipping at offensive line, going to Arante Ursare. Ursare, people are saying they're going to move the guard. Nah, he's playing tackle. Ursare's playing tackle. He has a strong anchor in the passing game. He doesn't get pushed around. He played both right tackle and left tackle in college. This dude can play on either side of the ball. So whether it's him or Patrick Paul or Teron Armstead, 2 of those 3 are going to start at tackle next year. And you can even throw Kelvin Banks in. Maybe Kelvin Banks does fight for a tackle job. But I think it's going to end up, if Teron Armstead does come back, you'll see Teron Armstead at left tackle, Kelvin Banks at left guard, maybe Ursare at right guard, and Patrick Paul at right tackle to get your best 4 offensive linemen out there and figure out what positions they're going to play. But I do see all 4 of them fighting for starting tackle. And then honestly, Teron Armstead is not playing guard. He's playing left tackle. So honestly, it's more Kelvin Banks, Arante Ursare, and Patrick Paul fighting for right tackle. And the 2 guys who lose out will play guard. But I do see Ursare more as a starting right tackle than a guard at all in the NFL. So yeah, then the number 2 with the second round draft pick you get for the Tyreek Hill trade, you grab Chris Paul Jr. from Ole Miss, another Ole Miss guy I really like. Great linebacker who funnels himself into the run lanes. He's great in coverage as well. He had 35 run stops last year, which led the team. He's a great downhill runner for blitzes as well. I see as a starting do-it-all guy, and I think him and Terrell Dotson next to each other would be one of the best run-stopping duos in the NFL. Like, Chris Paul's a very good run stopper, and he's even better in coverage. So I just think him and Dotson for the next 2 or 3 years would be really good, really fun to see. Then number 98, grabbing Deion Walker at D-tackle. Walker is a great starting level D-tackle. You guys know I talk about him all the time. He's 6'6", 345. He isn't a size to scoff at. He never did truly start in Kentucky, so maybe that's where he excelled, was as a rotation guy. But I do see him being a starter in the NFL, and maybe you get great value, because if he did start in Kentucky, he would have been a 2nd or 1st round pick, but you get him in the 3rd, that's great value. Again, a guy that I do see starting day 1. Then at number 114, grab Jacob Parrish from Kansas State. Parrish, great late round corner. You just cut Kendall Fuller, and I think Jacob Parrish could replace that role day 1 as your slot corner. He did play boundary corner at Kansas State, but I think in the NFL, he slots more as a slot corner. He's great at disrupting passes before they get caught. So I think in the slot, that's exactly what he would play really well. So I think he can fight for a starting job. Probably won't win out to one of these veterans, but if he does get a chance to fight with a veteran, it'll be a good, position battle. Then at 134, I'm taking a shot on Jackson Dart. I think it'd be a great backup and insurance for Tua's injury issue. Great arm, great deep ball accuracy. These wide receivers would absolutely love that. I think Jackson Dart would miss not having Tyreek Hill, because he would give Tyreek Hill 4 or 5 deep balls a game to try and catch. But I think round 3 is his ceiling. Round 4 is where I think he's going to go. But if he does go in round 3, that's his absolute ceiling. So if you can get him at 134, absolutely fantastic value. And a guy that a lot of guys think is, their wide receiver 3 or 4 on their boards. This is like wide receiver 5 or 6 or 7 he's getting drafted at. 157, grabbing Seth McLaughlin, the starting center from the national championships. For the national championship, Jesus Christ, I can't talk. And another future starter at center. I think some teams he could start day one, but for this unique situation with Miami, they have Aaron Brewer at center, so you don't need him to start day one. So he can just sit and develop, build strength, get used to the scheme. He is best at pass protection with good agility at run blocking, but when it comes to pass pro, that's where he excels. So at 157, grabbing a shot at a starting center in the future, that is good drafting, a good idea, good planning for the future. 226, RJ Mickens from Clemson. Played both strong safety and free safety. He's at best when he's in pass coverage, but I see him as a rotation guy at best. I just don't see a starter for him. I think he's going to be a rotation guy who bounces around the league, who, will randomly end up on a roster, get one really good play a game, go, how is RJ Mickens not starting somewhere? And it's just, it's just going to be his issues show when he's getting the full-time starting job. He bites a little too much in the run coverage. You can't do that when you're a starter. Then at number 233, grabbing a developmental tackle in Trey Wettig. He has experience all over the offensive line. He's a great run blocker. He's 6'7", 319. So I do think he needs to add a little bit more weight onto his frame of strength. So I see he's a potential starter after a year or two of development and a year or two of gaining that strength. But year one is a developmental backup tackle. And again, maybe in the future you can see something in him. Then at 253, grabbing Zachary Franklin. He's 6'1", 190, outside X receiver. Good route runner, good speed. I don't see him as a starter, more like a wide receiver 3 or 4. But, in the 7th round, grabbing a guy who will make your roster is not bad at all. He averaged 12 yards per catch, so, he's not a home run hitter, but he's always going to, get you close to a first down. But, yeah, that's my draft, getting, completely fixing the offensive line, getting on defense, the guys you need to grab. In free agency, taking a lot of one-year flyers on guys that you see as potential starters, getting veterans to fill in the holes, and re-signing the guys who have helped you win in the last few seasons. So, yeah, if you guys enjoy it, please like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell to be notified when I post next. Let me know what you would do differently in this off-season plan, and I'll see you guys later. Peace and bye.